I went through a longish spate in my 20s and 30s where my heart grew really hard and angry towards family members, some friends, some colleagues, and even God. And I held on to my anger in some cases. And while I believed it fueled some righteous actions, on reflection, I believe it held me back. My name's Antoinette, and I'm going live every Sunday. And this year, I'm focusing on life lessons for little A, younger me. Things I would love my bold 20-year-old self to know as I approach 50. So here is what I would love little A to know. Unforgiveness is a thief of joy. Collins' dictionary defines it as an unwillingness to stop being angry and to no longer want to see a punishment for a person or a situation. So it's that trade-off between justice, which could happen, and then feeling like justice is done, or just choosing to hold on to the feeling instead. It's a desire to continue to carry that feeling beyond an apology, beyond someone seeking to put the situation right, or even over a long period of time when no apology has been given, still just holding on to that baggage of anger, because that's what it is. And it's a tricky one, isn't it? Does that mean that we all need to be love hearts and unicorns with a target me, I'm soft banner over our heads? Like, definitely not. Trickier though, and this is what I want to drill down into, is holding on to that anger against a situation that hasn't been resolved. So the thing I've learned as I look back over my life to date is that while I was busy building up a wall of anger for a person or for a situation that I had a problem with, generally that person or life was gleefully rolling on. It was oblivious to the burden of anger that I was carrying. And I, on the other hand, felt like there was a cloud over my head and a sort of heaviness in my heart and soul. Did you know that prolonged anger has negative physical implications on your body? Like, check it out. It's science. I'll pop the link down below. It stresses out the heart. It increases chances of heart attack. It can disrupt your digestion. It hinders good mental health and is often elevated in disorders such as anxiety or depression. And it messes with your sleep. And as more and more research is showing, a lack of good sleep leads to chronic conditions and an earlier death. I'll drop the link in. So not only had my boundary line been assaulted, but by holding on to anger, I allowed that person or that situation to have a long-reaching and negative impact on my life and on my health. And that, in my opinion, definitely sucks. Have I nailed this, little A? Definitely not. But my anger loops are shorter. I'm learning to challenge people in the moment or shortly after, still not perfect. I'm learning to separate myself actually from people or situations that tend to be toxic, especially repeat offenders. And I'm making conscious decisions about what situations I am prepared to shorten my life over, like low paid wages, campaigning against that, or human trafficking, campaigning against that. Prepared to shorten my life for those. The truth is, we can't control another person's behaviour. We can't force them to apologise or change their ways. And the biggest consequence, and only if they care, is to calmly remove ourselves from their destructive pathway and to re-find our joy. Mark Twain says that anger is an acid that can do more harm to the vessel in which it is stored than to anything on which it is poured. What do you think about that? Losing my dad when he was just 62 was much more complex than losing my mum a year later. My dad and I had unresolved conversations. There were still things I was angry about, despite him apologising, actually. And as I get older, and as I realise how complex both life and human beings are, I realise that life is too short already without reducing it due to unresolved anger. Some of the most unhappy people that I know are holding on to this very toxic emotion and refusing to allow themselves to move forwards and find joy. But I do want to end with a word of caution. It's important to let people know when they've trodden over our boundary line. It's important for us and for them to know that there are consequences when we hurt a person or when a person hurts us, the planet, or even God. That's called justice. But the continual punishment of someone that has apologised is unreasonable and, as importantly, unhealthy for us. Bede Jarrett, a modern day monk, reminds us that the world needs anger. It does. The world often continues to allow evil because it isn't angry enough. So, my words of wisdom to little A: choose those battles wisely. Set clear boundary lines and let people know in no uncertain way that when they've crossed you, let people know in no uncertain way that they've crossed you. But then, let it go. Lingering anger has a way of driving you down dark and sad pathways, and in the end, little A, you'll be the biggest loser. You're powerful, little A. Be brave, be bold, be kind. Choose joy. See you next Sunday.